If you become a patron, you can hear more audiobooks that aren't available on YouTube, such as Socialism with Chinese Characteristics, A Guide for Foreigners by Roland Bohr, Khrushchev Lied and Blood Lies by Grover Furr, a rare biography of Mao Zedong written by his most trusted bodyguard, and much more. Become a subscriber by following the first link in the description below. Thank you for your support. The Governance of China, Volume 4, by Xi Jinping. Part 13, Public Wellbeing and Social Progress. Build a strong public health system. Part of the speech at a meeting with experts and scholars. June 2nd, 2020. Since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012, the Central Committee has made clear the party's working guidelines for public health in the new era and reaffirmed its responsibility to provide safe, effective, convenient, and affordable public health services and basic medical care. We contained and responded effectively to the outbreaks of such epidemics as the H1N1 flu in 2009, H7N9 bird flu in 2013, and Ebola hemorrhagic fever in 2014. The incidence of major epidemics has fallen remarkably in China. At the fourth plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee in 2019, the party proposed to strengthen the institutional guarantee for improving public health. It was decided that one of the important goals and tasks for modernizing China's governance system and capacity would be to strengthen the system of public health services and address major emerging infectious diseases, EIDs, in a timely and meticulous manner. Special emphasis was laid on preventing and controlling serious epidemic diseases and steadily developing the system of public health services. In the course of achieving the two centenary goals, public health has always been and will continue to be one of the foundations of all undertakings. It is inextricably linked with our country's overall development strategy and plays a strong supporting role. The fight against COVID-19 has proved that China's public health service system, medical care system, medical security system, and medicine supply system, and the system of prevention and control and emergency response to major epidemics are effective on the whole, but there are weak links. Some of these problems can be attributed to shortcomings in our systems and mechanisms, some to poor policy enforcement, and some to the limits of our development to date. Only by building a strong public health system, improving the early warning and response mechanisms, reinforcing our capacity for prevention, control, and treatment, and creating a tight-knit network of forceful, protective measures can we guarantee the people's health. Based on your views and proposals, I would like to elaborate on the following points. First, we should reform the Disease Prevention and Control (DPC) system. Prevention is the most efficient and economical strategy for health. The DPC system is an important guarantee, protecting and safeguarding public health and maintaining social and economic stability. In the fight against COVID-19, our public health system has played a significant role, but has exposed some deficiencies, such as insufficient capacity, inflexible mechanisms, inadequate impetus, and disconnects between prevention and treatment measures. These are long-standing problems, and it is time to resolve them once and for all. Efforts should be directed towards more precise and effective prevention, with further reform to coordinate systems and mechanisms, define functions and boundaries, and improve professional competence. We should put in place a reliable funding mechanism for public health, and improve DPC facilities and public health service programs. We must optimize the functional structure of DPC institutions. We need to establish a DPC system that is mainly composed of DPC centers at the national, provincial, city, and county levels and specialized DPC institutions that relies on the support of medical institutions, with primary medical and health institutions serving as the first DPC line, that is characterized by civil-military integration in medicine and health services, and that gives equal weight to prevention and treatment. We need to set up mechanisms with clearly defined responsibilities for each level of management from top to the bottom, and with effective coordination among them. We should improve the capacity building of national DPC institutions, update their technology expertise and talent reserve, and strengthen their leading role in protecting public health. We need to improve coordination between DPC institutions and urban and rural communities, and strengthen the role of town and township health centers and community health service centers in epidemic prevention so as to consolidate the foundations for joint prevention and control at the grassroots. We should initiate a mechanism for increasing collaboration between hospitals and disease control agencies in which personnel, information, and resources are shared, and oversight and regulation operate as mutual restraints. We should cultivate high-caliber DPC professionals, develop mechanisms for their training and management that are adaptive to the modern DPC system, and introduce measures to ensure grassroots DPC institutions are always well-staffed. We should develop a number of first-class public health academies and focus on the training of professionals specialized in pathogen identification, epidemic trend analysis, research on the patterns of epidemic transmission, field epidemiology, and laboratory testing. Second, we should strengthen the capacity for monitoring, early warning, and emergency response. After the SARS epidemic in 2003, China established mandated online reporting of cases of infectious diseases and has seen a notable improvement in the facilities and equipment of DPC institutions. We should strengthen monitoring and early warning as the top priority for improving the public health system, as detection holds the key to the policy of early detection, reporting, quarantine, and treatment. We need to put in place a better monitoring system for epidemic outbreaks and public health emergencies, as well as for diseases with unknown causes and abnormal health incidents, and improve the sensitivity and accuracy of assessment and monitoring. We should build smart early warning mechanisms through multi-point triggers, improve the multi-channel monitoring and early warning mechanisms, and increase the capacity for real-time, comprehensive analysis and assessment. The network of laboratory testing for epidemic diseases must be improved. Public health institutions and medical institutions must coordinate their efforts in epidemic monitoring to ensure early detection, early reporting, and early treatment at grassroots institutions. We should improve contingency plans for public health emergency response and organize response teams at various levels and in various categories, with plans and staff covering outbreak assessment, epidemiological investigation, medical treatment, laboratory testing, community guidance, and deployment of supplies. Grassroots medical staff should receive response training and drilling to expand their knowledge and raise their skill level in providing early treatment. Education on public health emergency response should be provided to increase the public's awareness and their capacity for disease prevention and self and mutual medical aid. Party committees and governments at all levels should establish working mechanisms for regular analysis and planning on the prevention and control of major epidemics. They should improve coordination among different levels for concerted, interdepartmental, and cross-region anti-epidemic measures that are applicable for both normal circumstances and emergencies, and they should see to it that instructions are given clearly and executed systematically, smoothly, and effectively. Third, we should improve the system for medical treatment during major epidemics. Treatment of COVID-19 patients is a challenging test for our nation's medical services developed over the past 40 years since the launch of reform and opening up. It also tests the results of building key medical specialties that have developed over the past 20 years and the reform of the medicine and healthcare system that has unfolded over the past 10 years. China has put the people first in its COVID-19 response because we know nothing is more precious than people's lives. We have mobilized medical resources across the country on a scale never seen before. Not a single infected person is left unattended. Not a single confirmed patient is left untreated. From newborns to centenarians, all have been treated to the best of our ability. There is not a single case of lack of treatment due to affordability. Almost all the 42,000 medical workers of the 346 medical teams from across the country who rushed to Hubei province for emergency relief work were from public hospitals. Experience has proved that a treatment system that is dominated by the government, that serves the public interests, and that is underpinned by public hospitals provides an important guarantee for effective response to major epidemics. Therefore, public hospitals must develop stronger capacity for the treatment of infectious diseases, and general hospitals must enact higher standards for prevention and control facilities, so that we have a greater reserve for emergency medical treatment. With these measures in place, we will raise China's system and capacity for fighting major epidemics to a higher level. Medical resources should be rationally distributed. We should coordinate emergency response efforts by medical institutions in terms of mobilization, regional cooperation, and personnel deployment to shore up weak points and be prepared for both normal circumstances and emergencies. We need to put in place a sound, graded, multi-level, and referral-based treatment network for infectious diseases and other serious epidemic threats. We should improve the three-tiered urban-rural medical service network with the focus on urban communities and rural villages, border and port cities, county-level hospitals, and traditional Chinese medicine TCM hospitals. We will further develop national and regional medical centers to provide more effective treatment of serious epidemic diseases. We must redouble our efforts to develop disciplines related to the treatment of diseases during major epidemics, particularly intensive care medicine, respiratory medicine, anesthesiology, and other urgently needed disciplines. We may enact policies and measures to recruit more high-caliber medical workers to the profession of epidemic prevention and control. Fourth, we should further implement public health campaigns. The campaigns, which began in the 1950s with an emphasis on sanitation and personal hygiene, represent a successful case of our party's application of the mass line to boosting public health. We must summarize our successful experience in COVID-19 prevention and control and integrate new concepts with new approaches to drive this campaign. The focus of our work should shift from public sanitation governance to comprehensive public health management, targeting widespread and long-lasting issues concerning public health. We must comprehensively improve the living environment, public health infrastructure, and urban and rural environmental sanitation, and honor model cities and towns in public health. We should encourage positive, healthy, and green lifestyles, popularize health knowledge, and promote healthy dietary trends, good habits in daily life, such as wearing masks when going out, sorting garbage, maintaining social distancing, using individual serving dishes and serving chopsticks, and making clinical appointments online, should be promoted. We should include public health in all government policies, apply the philosophy of full life cycle health management to the whole process and every link of urban planning, construction, and management, and move faster to build a public health system adapted to rapid urbanization and high population density. Party committees and governments at all levels must put the public health campaign high on their agenda, ensure its implementation through rational organizational structure, appropriate adjustment in functions and responsibilities, adequate staffing, and proper funding, and explore more effective ways of public mobilization. Fifth, we should exploit the strengths of TCM in the prevention and control of major epidemics. The clinical approach to combining Chinese and Western medicine and therapies has been a success, as well as a point to be noted in the fight against COVID-19. This manifests the inheritance and innovative development of the best of our TCM heritage. Over 5 millennia, the Chinese nation has pulled through numerous health crises thanks to TCM. In the fight against disease, many TCM classics have been written and handed down, including Treatise on Febrile and Miscellaneous Diseases, Treatise on Differentiation and Treatment of Epidemic Febrile Diseases, and Treatise on Epidemic Febrile Diseases. Footnote 1. Treatise on Febrile and Miscellaneous Diseases was composed by Zhang Zhongjing, circa 150 to 219 of the Eastern Han Dynasty. End of footnote 1. Footnote 2. Treatise on Differentiation and Treatment of Epidemic Febrile Diseases was composed by Wu Tong, 1758 to 1836 of the Qing Dynasty. End of footnote 2. Footnote 3. Treatise on Epidemic Febrile Diseases was compiled by Ye Gui, 1666 to 1745 of the Qing Dynasty. End of footnote 3. Returning to the main text. The 3 TCM drugs and 3 herbal formulas selected for the clinical treatment of COVID-19 in China derived exactly from TCM classics. We should strengthen research and clinical trials, summarize TCM theory in epidemic prevention and control and the best clinical practices, and carry out intensive R&D for breakthroughs. We should explain the therapeutic effect of TCM by adopting modern assessment tools and drawing on ancient experience at the same time. We should delve deeper into and analyze TCM classics, create a number of TCM research platforms, and reform the mechanisms for TCM review and approval to encourage the R&D of new medicines and boost the TCM industry. We should improve the TCM service system and raise the capacity of TCM hospitals in emergency response and treatment. Training of TCM professionals should be strengthened in order to build a highly capable TCM team for epidemic prevention and control at the national level. We must probe into the institutional problems in the administration of TCM, strengthen the leadership over the management of its development, and promote complementary and coordinated development between TCM and Western medicine. Sixth, we should improve laws and regulations on public health. Since its victory over SARS in 2003, China has revised the law on the prevention and treatment of infectious diseases and enacted the emergency response law and the regulations on response to public health emergencies, along with contingency plans. These laws and regulations constitute the legal basis for responding to epidemics, but some of their stipulations are incoherent or inconsistent with each other. We need to further amend the law on the prevention and treatment of infectious diseases and promulgate a law on the response to public health emergencies to meet new demands, and strengthen law enforcement mechanisms for epidemic prevention and control with clearly defined powers and responsibilities and standardized procedures for effective enforcement. All of these will help improve legislation on the measures against emerging epidemic diseases and define the functions and responsibilities of central and local authorities, of the government and its functional departments, and of administrative organs and professional institutions. We need to raise public awareness of laws and regulations on public health security and on epidemic prevention and control so that all members of society act in accordance with the law in this regard. Seventh, we should leverage the essential role of science and technology in the prevention and control of epidemics. I have always emphasized that science and technology are effective weapons for fighting epidemics. Humanity's victories over major disasters and pandemics could not have been possible without scientific progress and technological innovation. In the early stage of the COVID-19 epidemic, China's research institutions acted together in etiological investigation and pathogen identification. It took us only 8 days to identify the pathogen of this viral pneumonia of unknown cause as a novel coronavirus. It took us only 16 days to optimize the nucleic acid test kits, enabling the screening of suspected cases on a large scale. We acted promptly in selecting a number of effective medicines and therapeutic regimens. We expedited the development of vaccines through multiple approaches and made them available for clinical trial. All these efforts have laid solid ground for China's fight against COVID-19. Major scientific and technological achievements in life security and biosafety are treasures of the country and must be kept in our own hands. We must increase science and technology input in public health endeavors, improving the systems for epidemic prevention and control, and for key public health R&D that are applicable for both normal circumstances and emergencies, intensifying efforts to make breakthroughs in core technologies, increasing funding for the prevention and control of epidemics, addressing defects in such areas as life sciences, biotechnology, medicine and healthcare, and medical equipment at a faster pace. Currently, we must leverage our institutional advantage of being able to pool nationwide resources and strive to become the first developer of COVID-19 vaccines so as to keep ourselves well positioned strategically. Moreover, we need to extend institutional reform for the development of science and technology talent and improve the mechanisms for discovering, training, and motivating leading scientists with strategic vision and innovative technology talent so that more outstanding professionals will engage in scientific research and have the opportunity to demonstrate their outstanding capabilities. Eighth, we should strengthen international exchanges and cooperation on public health. Since the COVID-19 epidemic broke out, China, which is committed to building a global community of shared future, has been actively fulfilling its international obligations through close cooperation with the WHO and other countries. China has shared its successful experience with the rest of the world concerning case reporting, virus identification, and control measures. China has, to the best of its ability, offered material and technological assistance to more than 100 countries and international organizations, honoring its responsibilities as a major country. In responding to COVID-19, we must have plans in place for worst-case scenarios. We must maintain our strategic resolve, stay firmly on track, meet challenges head-on, adopt effective approaches, and unite all the forces at our disposal. At the 73rd World Health Assembly in 2020, I explained in my video speech China's vision and proposals on fighting COVID-19 and announced 5 policy measures which were widely welcomed by the international community. The final agreements reached at the Assembly conform to China's position, as well as the shared aspirations of most countries. COVID-19 is still raging around the world. China will continue to perform its international obligations, play its role as the world's biggest supplier of protective materials, participate in the formulation of relevant international guides, norms, and standards, and share its solutions and experience. In doing so, China will exert a greater impact on and have a greater say in the global health governance system as we work with other countries to build a global community of health for all. Optimize social governance based on collaboration, participation, and common interests. Part of the speech at a meeting with experts from economic and social sectors. August 24th, 2020. Experience has shown us that development brings problems, and they are equally numerous before and after. The social structure of our country is undergoing profound change. The internet has reshaped human interaction. Social norms, attitudes, and behaviors have changed too. During the 14th five-year plan period, 2021 to 2025, we will have to thoroughly study the following issues and take steps to address them. How to adapt to profound change in social structure, relationships, attitudes, and behaviors. How to realize fuller and higher quality employment. How to improve the social security system to realize full coverage and sustainability. How to strengthen public health and disease control. How to promote long-term balanced population growth. How to strengthen social governance, resolve social conflicts, and maintain stability. Modernity is built on a balance between order and dynamism. We must optimize social governance based on collaboration, participation, and common interests, synergize government efforts with public self-regulation and community-level self-governance, and build a community of social governance in which everyone fulfills their responsibilities and shares in the benefits. We must develop and adopt new approaches to grassroots social governance and energize all the cells of society. Conflicts and disputes should be resolved when they first arise so that harmony and stability can be maintained at the grassroots. Greater emphasis should be placed on upholding social equity and justice and promoting well-rounded individual development and comprehensive social progress. Accelerate educational modernization and prepare a new generation for national rejuvenation. Part of the speech at a meeting with experts and representatives from education, culture, health, and sports sectors. September 22nd, 2020. We will foster a new generation capable of shouldering the mission of national rejuvenation. Education is a matter of great significance to the country and the party. It has been a top priority of the Central Committee since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012. We have held the National Education Conference and released a new guideline, China Educational Modernization 2035. We have strengthened moral and political education in schools of all types and at all levels, advanced comprehensive reforms in education, and made curriculum content a matter of national responsibility. Fundamental changes are taking place. In the coming 14th five-year plan period, 2021 to 2025, education will be one of the top missions of the party and the state. We will fully implement the party's education policy, give priority to education, cultivate talent for the party and the country, and develop education that satisfies the demands of the people. In accelerating the modernization of education, we will foster a new generation and prepare them for the mission of national rejuvenation. We will keep to the socialist path in education, take the fostering of values and moral integrity as the fundamental goal of education, and make education play its role in encouraging students to foster and apply the core socialist values. We will further reform and innovate school courses on moral standards and political philosophy, strengthen and improve physical and aesthetic education, and expand programs on basic life and work skills. We will develop well-rounded education, promote equal access to education, and ensure the all-rounded development of students in terms of morality, intellectual ability, physical fitness, aesthetic sensibility, and work skills. In our school education, we will foster patriotism, a sense of social responsibility, a pioneering spirit, and the ability to put ideas into practice. Human resources are an important support for the new development dynamic. We will optimize the structure of disciplines and programs and the training of personnel to meet the needs of the new development dynamic. We will impose the mechanism to promote lifelong learning for all and build a more flexible lifelong learning system with richer resources and easier access. We will intensify efforts to develop vocational education and training, improve workers' skills, and increase their incomes, expand the middle income gap through fuller and higher quality employment, and release the potential in domestic demand. Improving our capacity for independent innovation and our ability to make quick breakthroughs in core technologies in key fields is essential to fostering the new development dynamic. Our colleges and universities should take on the responsibility for releasing their potential in basic research and scientific and technological innovation, respond to China's strategic needs, and make faster breakthroughs in core technologies, particularly in bottleneck technologies that have been withheld from us. We will support institutions of higher learning that aim to become first-rate universities or develop first-class disciplines in strengthening scientific and technological innovation and building research facilities that serve this purpose. We will foster synergy of enterprises, universities, and research institutes. We will further reform the training of highly competent staff for colleges and universities, so as to have a contingent of high-caliber teachers and nurture a greater number of outstanding staff. To serve regional development strategies, we will optimize the distribution of educational resources across regions and accelerate the creation of an education model. We must move faster to integrate education across the country and create an environment in which the Eastern region, the Central region, and the Western region progress together in educational development. This will enable education to play a bigger role in regional development strategies. We will continue to implement comprehensive, systematic, holistic, and coordinated reforms in education. We will introduce and implement the overall plan for further reform on education evaluation in the new era, and ensure that it succeeds in building a world-class evaluation system grounded in China's realities. We must review the experience of booming online education since the outbreak of COVID-19 and use information technology to update educational concepts and reform teaching models. We must open the education sector wider to the outside world, optimize global cooperation in education, and strengthen international exchanges and cooperation in science and technology at higher levels. At the same time, we must maintain our principles and keep to the correct political orientation. Develop quality and sustainable Social Security. Speech at the 28th Group Study Session of the Political Bureau of the 19th CPC Central Committee, February 26, 2021. Today, at the 28th Group Study Session of the Political Bureau, we will discuss the topic of building a social security system that covers the entire population. To achieve the goals set for the 14th Five-Year Plan period, 2021 to 2025, We will analyze the current status of our Social Security system and its problems, and lay out a plan for ensuring future quality and sustainable development. Social Security is a system for ensuring people's basic needs, improving their well-being, and safeguarding social equity. It is an important institutional framework for social and economic progress, and for allowing the people to share the fruits of reform and development. As a social safety net, an income distribution regulator, and an economic shock absorber, it is of overarching importance to national stability and governance. Our party has always attached great importance to Social Security and people's well-being. At its Second National Congress in 1922, the CPC proposed to improve workers' benefits through measures such as providing factory insurance and protecting the unemployed. The labor law of the Chinese Soviet Republic, promulgated in 1931 when the Soviet government was seated in Ruijin, Jiangxi province, had a special chapter on Social Security. In 1951, shortly after the PRC was founded, the central government enacted the regulations of the People's Republic of China on labor insurance, in accordance with the stipulation on introducing a labor insurance system in the common program of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. Since reform and opening up began in 1978, we have made steady and significant progress in developing the Social Security system as a pillar for improving people's lives. Since the party's 18th National Congress in 2012, the Central Committee has brought Social Security to the top of its agenda to ensure faster progress. At the meetings of the Political Bureau and of its Standing Committee, and meetings of the Central Commission for Further Reform, plans for reforming basic pension schemes and guidelines for deeper reform of medical insurance have been discussed and reviewed, to form the top-level design for improving the Social Security system and to make reform more systematic, holistic, and coordinated. We have unified the basic pension schemes for rural and non-working urban residents, merged the pension schemes for staff of government offices, public institutions, and enterprises, and established a regulatory system for the central government to balance pension funding for enterprise employees across provinces. We have integrated the basic medical insurance system for non-working urban residents and the new rural cooperative medical care system to form the basic medical insurance for rural and non-working urban residents. We have introduced critical illness insurance for rural and non-working urban residents and formed the National Healthcare Security Administration. We have extended social insurance coverage across the whole population, reduced social insurance contributions, and transferred state capital to replenish Social Security funds. We have developed social welfare undertakings to care for the elderly and children and to help people with disabilities. With institutional support in place, all citizens, whether they are rural or urban residents and regardless of their region, gender, and occupation, can feel secure when they get old, fall ill, lose their job, suffer a work-related injury or disability, or fall into poverty. A complete Social Security system has taken shape. Social insurance is the mainstay, while social assistance, social welfare, and benefits and services are provided for eligible groups. With basic medical insurance covering 1.36 billion people and basic pension schemes covering nearly 1 billion people, China has the world's largest social security net. This has laid solid foundations for a better life, provided strong support for eliminating extreme poverty, and facilitated efforts to achieve all-around moderate prosperity and the first centenary goal on schedule. While celebrating our achievements, we need to be aware that as the principal challenge facing our society has changed and urbanization, population aging, and employment diversification accelerate, the weaknesses in our Social Security net are becoming more apparent, and these call for our attention and action. The main weak points are unsatisfactory transition between different Social Security arrangements due to incomplete integration, failure to cover all migrant workers, those in flexible employment, and those engaged in new forms of business, the over-reliance on basic Social Security services initiated and managed by the government and the inadequate provision of supplementary insurance by market players and the private sector, pressure on balancing regional Social Security receipts and payments due to lack of high-level coordination, differential benefits for urban and rural residents between regions and between groups, the gap between Social Security services and people's needs, insufficient Social Security funding in some places. At the 5th plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee in 2020, a blueprint was drawn up for China's development in the next 5 to 15 years, aiming for more tangible progress towards common prosperity. Social security directly concerns the people's most immediate interests. We need to strengthen income redistribution as a tool of mutual assistance, include more people in the social security net, and provide them with reliable and satisfactory services. To meet people's diverse needs, we need to develop a fair, unified, sustainable, and multi-tiered social security system that covers both urban and rural areas and forms a tight-knit safety net for the entire population. First, we should build a social security system with Chinese characteristics. It is natural that different countries have different social security systems, as they differ in level of development, social conditions, and culture. Learning from foreign experience does not mean mechanically copying their models, but exploring and creating a distinctively Chinese social safety net based on the conditions in our country. Leveraging the strengths of CPC leadership and our socialist system, we have been able to pool resources from around the country to develop Social Security in a solid and steady manner. Following a people-centered approach and the principle of common prosperity in developing Social Security, we have focused on improving people's well-being and upholding social equity so that all our people can enjoy the benefits of reform and development in a fairer way. We are strengthening the institutional network for Social Security to become an inclusive, multi-tiered, and sustainable system that ensures basic living needs. Adapting the system to the needs of the times, we have addressed problems and broken through institutional barriers by means of reform and innovation, seeking truth from facts, and doing all we can within our capacity. We have based improvements in Social Security on sustainable economic and financial growth, always respecting our realities and never transcending our stage of development. These successful experiences must be continually enriched and applied in future work. Second, we should be forward-looking and planning for Social Security during the 14th five-year plan period and beyond. The outline for developing Social Security during the 14th five-year plan period, passed at the 5th plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee, should be incorporated into our overall planning and implemented in full. We should apply systems thinking and understand the requirements to implement the new development philosophy and create a new development dynamic in the new development stage. Furthermore, Social Security should proceed in the context of the 5-sphere integrated plan and the 4-pronged comprehensive strategy. This requires strategic thinking, commitment to meeting people's expectation for a better life, and alignment with the goals of well-rounded individual development and common prosperity. It should sustain progress in providing better access to childcare, education, employment, medical services, elderly care, housing, and social assistance, to be better prepared for new Social Security challenges and to be able to take preemptive action against risks. We should remain alert and analyze the trends of population aging, growing average life expectancy, the increase in years of schooling, and changes in the workforce structure for the next 5, 15, and 30 years. We should employ an international perspective and draw lessons and insights from the past and present practices of other countries. In particular, we should avoid the blind pursuit of better welfare that has led some countries into the middle-income trap, and the provision of excessive social welfare that has caused the loss of dynamism in some societies. We must always remember that the economy and Social Security are like water and a boat. Shallow water allows for a small boat, and deeper water allows for a larger boat. If this rule is not respected, the boat may be swamped or run aground. Third, we should extend Social Security reform. Our reform in Social Security is targeting greater integration and efficiency. It calls for improved planning and coordination between different elements of Social Security and between Social Security and other related sectors, so that reform in all areas builds a strong synergy. We should focus on the people's most immediate concerns in Social Security and remove the obstacles hindering its development. We will establish a multi-pillar, multi-tiered old age pension system, improve the mechanisms for adjusting funding and benefits for basic, pension, and medical insurance, and expand the coverage of enterprise annuities. Third pillar pension plans will be developed under regulation, and commercial health insurance will be promoted to meet the people's diverse needs. Basic medical insurance, unemployment insurance, and work-related injury insurance will be brought under unified management at the provincial level. and the respective powers and expenditure responsibilities of central and local governments will be further clarified. Social assistance for rural residents should be planned as part of the Rural Revitalization Strategy, and the system for social assistance in rural areas should be improved by putting in place measures for providing regular assistance. Improvements to Social Security should be made to cover all migrant workers, those in flexible employment, and those engaged in new forms of business. Similarly, improvements should be made in providing support and services for veterans, care and services for the elderly, and social assistance and welfare benefits for orphans and those with disabilities. After we introduced the Central Regulatory System for Pension Funding in 2018, renminbi 176.8 billion was transferred last year alone from the more developed eastern regions to the less developed central and western regions and provinces with old industrial bases. This has mitigated the structural imbalance in Social Security funding between regions and ensured pensions are paid on time and in full. To end the regional imbalance in Social Security, basic pension premiums should be brought under unified management at the national level as soon as possible. This conforms to the law of large numbers and constitutes a prerequisite for creating a new development dynamic. China is now faced with greater pressure from rising medical insurance expenditure due to a rapidly aging population, the growing prevalence of chronic diseases among the elderly, and advances in medicine, which has made more previously untreatable diseases treatable and controllable. We should continue to connect and coordinate reforms in medical treatment, medical insurance, and medicine supply, and improve the mechanisms for adjusting funding and benefits for basic medical insurance. Footnote 1. This refers to a people-centered approach to public health. By making reforms in medical treatment, medical insurance, and medicine supply more holistic, systematic, and coordinated through legal, administrative, and market means. It aims to boost public health and medical services, improve the multi-level medical security system, and regulate the supply of medicine and medical consumables. The sound allocation of medical resources will ensure public access to quality, efficient, and affordable basic medical and health services. End of footnote 1. Further reform will be carried out in government bulk purchase of medicines and medical consumables and in the payment methods of basic medical insurance. The pricing mechanism for medicines and medical services will be improved, and the basic medical insurance funds will operate with greater efficiency. In recent years, many developed countries and emerging economies with aging populations have introduced reform plans to raise the statutory retirement age. Not all their plans have gone well, and some have experienced setbacks. In China, we should set the right direction, tempo, and intensity, strengthen guidance of public opinion, and build a broad consensus to maximize the synergy for achieving this reform. Fourth, we should advance law-based governance in Social Security. Social Security should be strengthened in legislation, law enforcement, judicature, and law observance. Its healthy development should be guided by the rule of law. Legislation on social insurance, assistance, and welfare should be enacted or revised. For individuals, employers, governments, and other sectors of society, their legitimate rights and interests in Social Security should be guaranteed, and they should also fulfill their statutory obligations and responsibilities. Supervision of Social Security funds should be improved in accordance with the law to diffuse in operational risks and ensure that the funds remain secure. There will be zero tolerance for insurance fraud or embezzlement of Social Security funds, and every coin from the funds, as well as social aid and charity, will be guarded and put to good use. Fifth, we should take a more targeted approach to Social Security management, Aiming for high efficiency in Social Security governance, improvements should be made to the management and services network at the central, provincial, city, county, and township/subdistrict levels, with greater attention to the precision of management and the quality of services. As population flows increase and people change their jobs more frequently, social insurance registration, transfer, and renewal should be updated accordingly. We will optimize the mechanism for accurately identifying the recipients of social assistance and welfare benefits and ensure that our Social Security net provides everyone with the insurance assistance and services to which they are entitled. The unified platform for Social Security services should be upgraded to enable better handling of Social Security matters online by incorporating internet, big data, and cloud computing technologies. Traditional services should be provided in the same measure to ensure ease of access for the elderly, people with disabilities, and other groups with special needs. Sixth, we should leverage the positive role of Social Security in our COVID-19 response. Since the coronavirus struck last year, Social Security has made a major contribution to effective epidemic prevention and control in the all-out people's war on the virus, and to our success in achieving moderate prosperity and eradicating extreme poverty in China. As the virus continues to spread around the globe, we still face grave challenges in preventing inbound cases and domestic resurgence. Here, Social Security can offer help in containing the virus and stabilizing economic and social development. When the situation improves, reductions or exemptions of Social Security contributions and other temporary relief measures should be withdrawn progressively in coordination with similar measures in other areas. We should improve the Social Security response to major emergencies based on our successes in COVID-19 prevention and control, and mitigate conventional and foreseeable risks, such as illness and death, as well as exceptional challenges that are hard to foresee. Lastly, I would like to emphasize the importance of building a Social Security system with unified standards throughout the country. When Social Security had just been established, local governments were encouraged to innovate and try new approaches. As the Social Security system has developed and expanded, top-level design should now be followed to ensure unified management. Mandatory institutional requirements must be executed and operations should be brought under strict management and supervision. All localities must have the broader picture in mind and enforce institutional reform as instructed. No unauthorized local alterations can be allowed. There can be regional differences in Social Security standards for some time, but the goal of achieving a unified system is not open to debate. No one is allowed to deviate from this principle or go their own way. Party committees and governments at all levels should gain a deeper understanding of how important Social Security is and how it works. Coordinate all efforts to implement the decisions, plans, and reform measures formulated by the Party Central Committee, and make steady progress in building a Social Security network for all our people. Carry forward the spirit of the Beijing Winter Olympics and Paralympics, and build China into a strong sporting nation. Part of the speech at a meeting to review the Beijing 2022 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games, and commend outstanding individuals and groups. April 8th, 2022. A great cause nurtures a great spirit, and a great spirit promotes a great cause. All of you involved in the Beijing 2022 Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games cherished this opportunity. Throughout the process of bidding, organizing, and hosting the Games, you have fostered a spirit of the Beijing Winter Olympics and Paralympics, having a broad vision, staying confident and open, rising to the occasion, pursuing excellence, and creating a better future together. By having a broad vision, you have kept the interests of our country at heart and aimed high. You regarded the preparation and hosting of the Games as an important national mission, and you saw it as your duty to win glory for China, and as an honor to make your contribution. You took on great responsibilities, united as one, and strove for excellence for our country and the people. by staying confident and open. You have been graceful, open, and accommodating. You have remained confident in the path, theory, system, and culture of socialism with Chinese characteristics. You have creatively presented China's rich and profound cultural heritage. You have demonstrated the visions of the ancient Chinese civilization in a style of simplicity. You have demonstrated the sincerity and friendship of the Chinese people with your hospitality, and you have promoted mutual understanding and friendship among different peoples through sports exchanges. By rising to the occasion, you have worked hard, persevered, and maintained high morale in the face of daunting challenges and met them head-on. By pursuing excellence, you have been dedicated and meticulous in all preparations. You stuck to the highest standards, met the most demanding requirements, refined every plan and measure, sought perfection, and achieved one success after another. By endeavoring to create a better future together, you have worked in coordination, interaction, and cooperation. You responded to the Beijing Olympic and Paralympic motto, "Together for a shared future," and the new Olympic motto, "Faster, higher, stronger, together." And with the future of China and the wider world in mind, you called on all of humanity to build a global community of shared future. 7 years of meticulous preparation ensured the success of the Games, and now we are ready to move to the next stage. The Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics and Paralympics are a landmark event held at a crucial time as all of us in the party and the country are striving towards the second centenary goal of building a modern, socialist country. As we forge ahead, we should make the most of the legacy of the Games. The Games have left us not only with venues and facilities, but even more importantly, cultural heritage and a talent pool. These are all valuable assets. We must exploit them, convert them into new drivers for development, and use them to the full. We will strengthen strategic planning and make better use of sports venues and facilities to make ice and snow sports more popular. We will develop the winter economy, hold a range of ice and snow sports activities, and encourage public participation. We will fully tap into the cultural legacy of the Games to boost confidence in Chinese culture, make China's voice heard around the globe, and tell China's stories in an engaging way. We will stay true to humanitarianism, respect and safeguard human rights, and improve social security for people with disabilities and the systems of care and services. We will promote all-round development of programs for people with disabilities and encourage and support them in making sustained efforts for self-improvement. As a vision-impaired athlete said at the Games, "I cannot see the world, but I want the world to see me." We will promote throughout society volunteerism, characterized by dedication, friendship, mutual support, and pursuit of excellence, and we will fully leverage the role of volunteers in promoting social progress. We will carry forward the Olympic spirit, turn the Games into an opportunity for promoting peace and development, and contribute China's vision and strength to human progress. Our success in hosting the Games has stimulated enthusiasm for sports among hundreds of millions of Chinese and energized China's sports development. We will endeavor to build up the physique and improve the physical fitness and the quality of life of the whole nation. We will fully leverage the important role of sports in advancing well-rounded development of the person. We will continue to boost reform and innovation in promoting sports. We will strengthen research and development in sports, science, and technology. We will improve public fitness programs and encourage the public, and in particular the young people, to keep fit through sports. We will promote China's overall strength and performance in sports, increase its international competitiveness, and redouble our efforts to build China into a strong sporting nation. We have realized our dream of hosting the Winter Olympics and Paralympics, and we are now continuing our journey towards the future. Let us rally even more closely around the Party Central Committee. Let us be inspired by the spirit of the Beijing Winter Olympics and Paralympics. Let us forge ahead with greater resolve and confidence to realize the second centenary goal and the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation. End of part 13.